system and to be more effective.
That's my favorite city, Salt Lake. My son and daughter-in-law just flew out to Salt Lake. They own a home in Riverton. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like an interesting city. I didn't see much of it because I was at the Real Estate Star Power Convention. One of the real estate stars, Buddy West, wrote SRES. He and Tim Corliss, who at the time was the president of the California Association of Realtors, they wrote the SRES together and they owned it together. And Tim died of cancer, and SRES was sold to the California Association of Realtors. And then it ended up being NAR. And what a lot of us are doing in my world, which is senior home coach, is working way beyond just real estate. So it's really not even possible that NAR can guide us or lead us in this way. They're not leading us. And so if this is an agent grassroots effort, and I met Skip and Julie and ended up getting my CSA designation. Skip helped me get on the board of directors for the editorial journal with the Society of Certified Senior Advisors. So that's been a really cool experience, and just published my first article ever in the journal that just mailed out. It's on media, because the opportunity that we have as SRES is to be in media in a big, big way. And so if you can get yourself a copy of the SRES book, I'm sure that Julie or Skip could probably get you copies of that, or we can send you a digital copy. I've got a digital link for my particular article, which I'll probably post soon. But there's a huge opportunity to go on TV, radio, or do podcasting and really declare your public platform.
We have a designation training coming up next month. Skip does.
Okay.
2 weeks.
Just go ahead.
2 weeks.
Yeah, in a couple weeks. So, yeah, all this stuff is going to be amazing to feature and to start sharing with, especially with our newly designated SRES specialists.
Very cool. I think that getting the SRES is a great entry point, and to show up on the directory is nice. There's all kinds of things that you can do beyond that, which I know you're finding out about every week with Julie. So
the oh yeah, there's the Skip put the flyer in the chat, and there's a QR code on there.
Please note that if you want to take the class again as a refresher and you are still a current SRES, you can take the course for $99
as an update,
or whatever you want.
Yeah.
And do you feel like they've updated it, Skip?
They've well, I've updated as we've gone along with other information, but SRES said they're going to do a new revision probably January for the printed part and March for the online. And I don't have a whole lot of information other than that, but I'm just going to continue going like this. This is the course that was introduced in 2022. So it's been around for a while, and I've just been throwing stuff in it that I keep stumbling upon that, is really worthwhile information.
I don't know who teaches SRES, but I would imagine that you're one of the only ones that really is in the senior niche big time and can provide these other resources. So that's pretty cool. I can't wait for you to tell us what their updated version is.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up. I've actually sat in on some courses that other instructors have taught, and much to my chagrin, because they're real estate agents and not working in the senior business, they read the course to the students, which
it's shameful. It's shameful, guys. So so a couple things I could share. Julie asked me to get on and share is that went to the Real Estate Star Power Conference in Salt Lake City, and that traditionally has been the elite of the elite of the elite real estate agents. And a lot of people don't even know what Star Power is anymore. But Howard Britton was one of the original CRS instructors, along with D.G. Dunstan, and a lot of really famous, amazing realtors kind of grew up in the ranks of Star Power. And today we have all these other organizations and real estate companies that provide training that we used to only get at Star Power. And so it's kind of neat to reconnect, because I've known some of these people for over 25 years and they've known each other for over 30 years. And but I can tell you that even though I have this incredible course that has information in here that's not taught anywhere else, I would say we got about a 3% interest in the pre-conference class. I sold it for $297. They got $200 credit towards some of the other things that our organization offers. So really they get it for $97, and I sold the leftover bucks for 100. Bargain. I felt like I was giving it away. So 3% of the people that attended came to my class. And since then, I've had a little inquiry and more people wanting to buy the book. And I had a lady call today that she didn't even know anything about Star Power, but a friend told her, and then the friend told her about my stuff. So I think that 1 to 3% of realtors max are interested in senior niche, even though that is where the majority of today's business is. All realtors are working with gray-haired people. They just don't want to recognize it as being important. And even if they have the SRS, for the most part, they still don't treat it as special, and they don't know the content that's in that SRS manual. The content in the manual is very good. And then if you have an instructor like Skip, he's giving additional information that I don't think anybody in normal real estate is talking about. But Skip is in the know about all these things. And Skip really worked on me to make sure that I took advantage of participating in CSA leadership. And so realtors just now are not our industry. The individual agents are starting to wake up to the silver tsunami, to the population shift, the greatest population shift all human history. And a number of them are starting to participate in the Society of Certified Senior Advisors. The conference is next month. The CSA conference is in Baltimore next month. There's going to be shocking revelations that come out of that. And that's the best I can tell you. We have a lot of realtors going, and it is going to be shocking. And the people that I'm talked to every single day on the senior call are going to be shocked. And that's all I can tell them. And CSA was used to operating with hardly any realtors there, just a little smattering. Skip and a couple other people, right, Skip? Not many.
Yeah. Well, we had Helen from back in New York with Keller Williams. Out here we have Althea, who's with, well, Julie's office now, actually. And there's a few others, but yeah, you're right.
You could name them on one hand.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, but now we have a huge crew from the senior home coach movement, which are realtors in hyperdrive for senior niche. Bunch of us are going. And we have the Compass agents have decided that anyone that works in the senior division is going to get their CSA as a standard. I hope they keep that. Now, what I don't think they have is a lot of training. So far, what I've heard is that they are being asked to attend one monthly virtual meeting, and that they need to attend 10 out of 12. That ain't going to cut it, because the opportunity in senior niche is so huge. And that's why we're on Zoom every single day, and why Julie is doing this every single week. The opportunity is enormous. And here I was running around Star Power last week trying to explain. And I have NDAs out the wazoo right now. And so I can't tell you everything that's happening, but if you watch between CSA conference and January, you're going to see some incredible things that are changing this, because I believe aging is a team sport, and that we deserve a seat on the roster, place on the roster. And what I learned by going to my first CSA conference last year is that the other senior service professionals, and I'm talking authors, academics, care managers, home care agency owners, et cetera, people that work in senior living. I mean, everybody, the whole shebang, everybody that serves seniors, they have no idea how important the realtor is. They think, oh, this, the patient, the homeowner, the client, they got a realtor. That's all they know. They don't know if they have a good realtor. They don't know how well the home is priced. They don't know if the senior is understanding everything, if the realtor is capable of explaining everything. They are letting the senior and the real estate agent manage offers, and probably lots of misunderstanding is going on. They're not acting like a team partner. See, I went to go learn about CSA and what all these other people are doing, which was good. But what I found out is, holy cow, they don't know what we do. They don't know how important we are. We have 1.4 million agents right now, give or take. By the way, one of the past NRA presidents was there. One of the recent presidents, she was in between the sex scandals. And she said that we're probably going down to 1.2 million this year. The stuff, Bunny Trail, the stuff they were talking about AI is so crazy. Like, I'm talking to Chat GPT all day. Like, I'm I'm using AI. And holy cow, what they were talking about, Star Power, about AI, it either makes you want to jump off ship, like jump planet, like I'm done.
Yeah.
Or realize, oh my gosh, I got to
Yeah.
really get into this. It is unbelievable what's going on with AI. And so one thing I can tell you for sure is take every AI class you can, attend anything that you can on AI, because it might be way bigger than what you realize right now.
I wholeheartedly agree. And you know what? The bad news is what it's going to do, the shift it's going to create, but what it is going to create is going to be more transparency. It's going to help people make more informed decisions.
Mhm.
It's going to take out a lot of bad actors. It's going to take out a lot of old models. And you don't need to
Yeah.
get me started, because we all know what my passion's about. But it's also there's a lot of in the seniors place. What we have is, because it's been so ignored and so, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, but I'm just echoing what you're saying,
Yes.
in the sense that you're right. And so I feel like to stop focusing on the frustrations, because AI is what's going to create this like really beautiful marketplace of trusted advisors, which is what I think people on this phone call are about. I think
Mhm.
that's where your passion's coming from, is because we want people to make informed decisions.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of either bad actors or people that might not necessarily be educated. They don't care. Maybe their focus is different. And, and this is families, this is what their livelihoods are. This is what they've saved for. And this is their end of their lives. And it really needs to be with dignity, and it's got to be with really careful planning. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So here's the deal, guys. The senior home coach method that I have in this book and I talk about every day really works. It starts with broadcasting and community outreach. It starts with your public platform, which AI can help you tremendously. I use it all the time. I went and did a little ABC segment today, and I used AI to help with some of the content. It just helps with organization, a lot of things. So there's way more that we can do with it than what I've been doing. We have the opportunity in the SRES world, if we're really deep into this, to be helping our local television stations with good, fresh content for their viewers, to be producing radio shows like Valerie Vandesilver, who's the senior home coach. Within 2 hours of talking to me like a year ago, she signed a contract with the radio station to start Always Ageless. And that radio station has completely changed her life. She did 52 episodes her first year. She's started on her second set. I am 6 years into doing PBS Kansas television, a show called Empowering Seniors, doing the midday segments on our local ABC. I think I could be on any station here locally that I wanted to be if I wanted to really do it. But I have something big happening. And so I'm a little reluctant to stir anything else up right now. There's huge opportunity, and it's way beyond real estate. It's way beyond placement. It's way beyond senior move management. It's also the coming together of all of these things. And Mike
Exactly. Yeah.
Scogan, I see you're on here and that you're in placement, and there's some
Hi, Mike.
interesting things going on in your world.
Yes.
And so one NDA I chose not to sign was with regard to Care Patrol, partnering with a real estate company. And so I've just been waiting to see which one it is. And dun, 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 it's EXP. And so they're advertising to EXP agents that you can earn double commission. It just makes me want to vomit. It's such low level thinking, and they think they're going to teach real estate agents who probably would be lucky if they even have an SRES. Okay. And they're going to teach real estate agents a 5-hour, and I want to say a really bad cuss word, 5-hour class on how to instantly be a placement person. It's disgusting. And I don't think Care Patrol even knows what's going on.
Katherine, I have, there's a gentleman, I could forward you his information, who is teaching people, same thing. You can make $30,000 a month with a phone, I
already know him.
Are you talking about Matt?
Yeah, we know him.
Yeah. And then Phil Vincent, I think
I know him, Mom's House.
But what he's doing is he's reselling. There's investigations going on. AARP gave this somebody at the Capitol who's doing an investigation on people that are reselling data, and that's exactly what's going on. But I mean, it's deeper than that. It's assistedliving.com or care.com is selling data to Phil Vincent, who's selling it to real estate agents and placement agencies and selling territory.
And they're not even real estate agents, they're wholesalers. His big business is teaching people how to wholesale, wannabe cash buyers, how to do wholesale deals. And so watch out for the term senior transition specialist. If you see someone that is a good person and they think senior transition specialist sounds like a groovy name, they need to know not to use that name. Stay away from that series of words, senior transition specialist, because that's what Phil Vincent has come up with. I actually know Phil very well because Jessica, I decided to go investigate him myself.
I did. I spent $99 just to see inside the guts of this thing, and I was just appalled.
Yeah, and then I went to his 3-day training, and I thought, if it's terrible, I'll just leave. So I went a couple years ago, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it with my sweet little TV show, but I'm going to find out what's going on. I'm going to get down to the bottom of this. Well, I went down there, and this is not what you want to hear. He's kind of a nice guy.
No, I like his philosophy, but I don't like how he does business.
Oh, I know. So like, we can't be interconnected, but he's like a really nice guy. And he's raising 2 adorable young gentlemen, and he is a family man. He wants to lure wannabe cash investors into his circle. His biggest dream is selling him training for $30,000 at a pop. And I can tell you the whole history behind that, but I know why that's a number. He wants to lure them in to buy his training and maybe sell some of them leads. And he doesn't want to be attached to the outcome. What he's teaching them, at least what I have heard and seen, is okay. But it's in practice, the scumbags that are out there, how they're using it. And he doesn't want to take responsibility for that. But I happen to know in my own city, cash investors. These are people that have none of their own cash. They're going around as a senior transition specialist and little Christian saints that work for the church full time. And then they help ladies, they help widows. They can get them their money by Wednesday, and they, do some do-goody stuff. So they don't have to compete on the open market for distressed properties. And so they're winning over placement professionals is their number one target. And Philip taught them that. They're also interested in anybody else, home care, home health, senior living, of course. Winning them over has trusted referral partners, so they can go in as a trusted advisor and, buy the house for pennies on the dollar. So this is a shame that the National Association of Realtors and our industry by and large is ignoring, once again, the biggest thing happening in real estate. We did this maybe in the 1970s or 80s with corporate reload, and look how that turned out for us. And we're ignoring this. And we have organizations like the National Association of Senior Move Managers that are a million light years ahead of NAR. We will never catch up. So it's up to us as individual entrepreneurs to create our own businesses. And there's a lot of ways we can do it. But yeah, Philip Vincent's marketing is terrible, but he is kind of a nice guy and he's just trying to run a business. I'm not defending him, and I can't be associated with him. And I've had some people accuse me of being associated because apparently there's a couple photos floating around, but we're not associated. And I did have him come be on my show because I wanted to know more. And he had a really interesting assistant at the time, and she was awesome. So I know a lot. If I have a question about certain things, I could even call him and get advice, and he's very insightful and helpful. But no, I can't be part of anything that he's doing. I just am grossed out by it. And then he's hired a California hotshot senior placement advisor that stuck with him. First, he hired Matt, and Matt quit immediately.
Oh, I
'Cause
didn't
he-
know that.
He wasn't paying Matt, and Matt is not a fan. And then Christine Sevier has been working with him for quite a while, and she is a hot shot senior placement trainer for him. And now she is working with Seniorly, and she's trying to build a big Seniorly tree downline basically across the country. So I'd like to know more about that because she just hit me up on that yesterday.
I know Christine CVA. She actually, we just were on her podcast, or my coworker, my colleague. He was
Yeah.
on her podcast. She's a badass.
She is a badass, and she really is. And she'd be somebody good to be trained by. And then I am working with Scott Fisher, who's in Phoenix, Arizona. He has options for senior living, and he has a phenomenal course on learning placement, because I think that senior niche realtors should at least take a course like that so they can do a good job partnering with somebody like Mike.
Yeah.
Learning that perspective, that
Exactly.
language. It's a good layering in. It's really good. But that might be the direction where you have more and more placement professionals that have a real estate license because they want to participate in the real estate. Christine's husband is licensed, by the way. Placement people are usually pretty smart entrepreneurs, and they figure stuff out. I can just tell you that. Placement people are smart people. And
well, I don't think that some of them, and I know very, very not smart people. I'm telling you that I know
Okay.
one woman, she's not smart at all.
Okay.
But she's got a huge business because of when she started, how she started, the market she was in.
What market is she in?
She's in San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
She's been reported to the Consumer Federation back in 2016. It goes back. Nobody does
Wow.
anything about this. This what's going on in senior placement. It's what we're happening. We're coming to another pivotal time. Is like you're saying, oh gosh, there's so much opportunities, people coming in. Well, there's only 200 care homes in San Luis Obispo County and 200 in Santa Barbara. So 400, and like there's over 10 placement agencies just in San Luis Obispo. That's like 9 too many for that area.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that, but we're really saturated with realtors, and a lot of placement. Maybe I'm just talking to the more gung ho placement people, but a lot of them are making $60,000 and $70,000 a month. I know a lady in Dallas, and they have a limit on what they can charge. They only get to charge 3,000, but she's getting like 15 a day.
I know you want to say something, Mike.
We were trying to lure you into this conversation.
You
So
go. You
I
go,
think the
buddy.
Care Patrol franchisees are going to be very upset when they find out that the former Care Patrol CEO is luring realtors into be competitors, and his wife is still the CEO of Care Patrol.
Mike.
Chuck is like he just has a mafiosa attitude towards the whole, he against the whole place your mom thing, like he's gonna take him down, but like, but he created something like that's not I mean, I share your sentiment. I understand. I've seen this for years. When I started in home care in 2004, I thought placement is such a win-win. I could do this in a New York minute. And like after a while, after I saw even really good people, you might think they're smart. I don't think they're that smart. That were making very biased decisions for family members. And even though they had a good reputation, like I would just see what they were doing and I go, that's bias. You're making a biased decision on behalf of the family. That is not right.
Okay, noted.
Right.
I guess I've been saying that, Jessica, like been saying that a lot, and so I'll ease up on that. I'm comparing them to the National Association of Senior Move Manager people that tend to be like sweet, nurturing, primarily women that want to help seniors go through the teacups and everything in their house and sort through, but they forget that the most valuable thing on that at that address is the house, and they give the house lead away to realtors, oftentimes that don't treat them well and don't even give them a Starbucks card. And these women have very tight margins. Now, there's some that are making really good money, and they sell their businesses to moving companies. That's the big hubbub in that industry right now. But also to big companies. And so some of them are cashing in big time on the business that they built, but a lot of them barely squeak by, and they're not thinking about that the house is the most important asset at that address. And that if they would just get a real estate license, they could
Yes,
get a
no.
referral fee.
That's what I said I said, it's just a matter of time. If you're not going to regulate, the real estate market is catching on finally. They're
Mhm.
finally catching on. And you're right. And you know what is interesting is that some of these people are selling their placement businesses, but what's interesting is how they're selling it, because there's nothing to sell. It's a referral business. So there's really nothing to sell. There's no inventory. You can't really legally sell the business. Now, people can maybe buy your reputation, your branding, and create a package, but there's really
And your database, if the
nothing really to
database is
sell.
really up to date, but ever
Yeah, but they're
changing.
seriously, I mean, come on. And so I hear what you're saying about, I think Senior Care Authority had a huge push this past year. They're breaking down their territories. And I think like there's something going on there. I have to say about Senior Care Authority though, they're probably the most um open agents in all the franchises and all the things that they always get on the line. They will always listen to what you say. They're always open to, they're very big on B2B businesses. So I find Senior Care Authority, and Erin Dwyer at Senior Care Authority, she's a badass. She knows what she's doing.
Okay, cool. All right,
So,
Mike,
Mike,
aren't
I
you
know you
glad you
want-
got on this call, Mike?
I am actually, yeah. I try to make the calls, I'm usually off on tour and stuff, but this one is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So
I
I
you
think
mentioned
placement,
in
what
the-
I've heard, Mike, is that a lot of placement professionals have been very concerned about realtors catching on to placement. And a lot of senior living companies have hoped that realtors would get interested in helping them market, but it usually doesn't work out real well. You can't really catch realtors' attention usually on that. And then they want to underpay realtors compared to placement. But I think there's this blending, this three-legged stool of placement, senior move management, and senior real estate niche that almost has to occur.
Yes.
And then in addition to that, what I was saying before, my big aha from CSA last year is that the care managers and other people in that ecosystem don't understand how important it is that the senior hires the best, most qualified realtor, and that they should, as a care manager, as a placement professional, as whatever, probably be involved in that process enough with disclosures and approval to be involved to make sure that the senior homeowners and the families are getting good support through the whole thing. That even though I've been a realtor my whole life, I will often say the last thing that your parents need is a realtor, or the last thing you need is a realtor, because realtors that don't understand the timeline of the transitional move will put people immediately in the hospital. We all know that that happens because they don't understand how things should really work. That usually, and it's case by case, but usually the senior moves out of the home first, and they have professional guidance on where to go if they're going into senior living. And then you have the senior move management process at the home, so things can be properly liquidated and so forth. And then you sell the real estate.
If you sell the real estate, I
Yeah.
mean, so I also Catherine, I just connected with you, somebody on LinkedIn who's just was singing the same song that you were singing today, same exact real estate. She said that's what you just said. You move them, you take care of them first, you deal with it later. She said the same exact thing that you do. So, and she's been posting on LinkedIn about the same things that you're saying. It's like, how are we not disclosing this information to families? And a lot
Yeah,
of it has to do with just education, like you said. Sometimes people are just, they just don't know, and
right.
that's kind of
Yeah.
frustrating. It's that they just don't know. And
Mhm.
when it comes to seniors, we can't just stay in their own lanes. We have to, it takes a village.
Yeah, that's right, Jessica. And so I've come up with this little saying, aging as a team sport, and I'm going to be really pushing that. So I'm going to be speaking about some of this at CSA and at NASM. NASM, I spoke 3 years in a row on media. And last year, just for kicks, I submitted 3 different proposals, media again, that also one on leveraging the real estate and the placement opportunities. And that is the one they picked. So they're going to make me do some work because I got to write something on that. But I'm really proud of them because they've been hearing for about 20 years with very closed ears about the real estate part of it. And it was almost like they feel like it's an ethical violation or something. And we've been really warming them up heavy the last few years. And so I think that it would benefit us to have senior move managers in our area that want to work with someone that is highly, highly specialized, and don't just give your leads away to any old real estate agent in hopes that they will like you and send you referrals that you make a low margin on. Send it to somebody who's really as invested as you are in the senior world, even more so, and allow us to pay you a referral fee that you've earned. I'd rather pay a referral fee than have those leads going out there.
So, Yogi, you're a new participant today and you're a financial planner. Are you learning something that you didn't know before about what we do as senior real estate specialists?
Yeah, sorry, getting off mute. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how big the space is. With all the, I'm new to this, right? Learning the terminology and to see what is happening in the industry. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm a real estate investor, right? So definitely looking for opportunities to invest. I have a group of investors that I work with, along with my money as well, right? Our money in it. So we know there is a big opportunity here as investors. So definitely interested to learn more, explore options, see how we can, build this up as much as we can, and see how far we can take it. So I think there is opportunity here. So happy to learn more and collaborate.
So I have a
Yeah.
question for you as a financial planner, though, when you work with clients. Now, in what capacity do you work with a client? Like in portfolio, in what?
Yeah. So my core, if you take a few steps back, right, my core expertise is ensuring that assets such as your life, your house, things like that are protected, right? That's what I'm licensed to do, right? And I'm appointed with a number of companies, like Nationwide, Prudential, AIG, Corebridge, right? So those are
Okay, so you sell whole life, or universal life?
universal life, annuities, terms, those kind of things, right?
Okay,
So that's my core, right?
yeah. So that's basically insurance and not financial planning.
No,
Well,
that's correct.
annuities.
Annuities, yeah.
That's right. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So
Okay, so here's the connector, and this is the point I'm making, is because our job as a seniors real estate specialist is to preserve, protect, and otherwise leverage, if needed, the senior homeowner and the family of senior homeowners. We're there to preserve and protect that asset, and that asset is their real estate, and that's the number one asset that most people have, especially middle America. That's their highest, best asset. And that's what is gonna finance their future when they have to face challenges. And so just any old realtor cannot make suggestions and observations about that. So, and when we work with the financial planners, we need to know that the equity position that this senior homeowner has, what kind of position they're in, what are they facing, and how is that real estate asset going to finance the next 35 years of their life in senior living?
Yeah. And so, and that's exactly what I'm saying, that when wealth advisors or other people don't know how much that asset is worth and they're going off of, let's say, a 90-year-old man who has significant health problems, going off of what he thinks his house is worth, you're not getting an accurate picture. And that it's really important to be involved in all that. And you're not going to get it from the tax assessed value. And you really want to partner with realtors that really know what they're doing and understand the timeline, and they're not just looking for listings. And then regarding investors, I'm all for people buying distressed properties, buying investment properties, great. Buy them as is, great. All I'm saying is pay fair market value for what the kind of condition it's in. That's it. And I'd like to see you do it with a licensee that's reputable and knows what they're doing, and that hopefully there are competing bids. So that's the problem I have with what Philip Vincent and a lot of these wholesalers are doing, is trying to buy the property with zero competition. And by the way, Philip Vincent is a licensee. He's been a realtor for decades, and he doesn't always tout that, but he's tried different angles on how to sell his education. For a long time it was, you don't need to work with real estate agent. That's what really got him on the wrong side of a lot of people. But recently it's that placement opens the door to making commission, which I hate that word, making commission on the placement, and then buying the property with zero competition. And Mike, I don't know if you would agree with this or not. This is another thing I say all the time. So you just tell me if I'm not thinking right, that I've heard this, and maybe we need to look at some sources, that maybe up to 90% of homeowners that use placement services may end up selling their home. So some of these homes might stay in the family, or something else is done with it, but up to 90% might end up going on to the real estate market.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right. So
Okay.
I always suggest to my clients that you could keep the home, fix it up, and rent it out as an ongoing income, as increasing income rather than a fixed income.
Okay. I think that is an interesting thing. Do you have a real estate license?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't
So
intend to.
here's the deal. We have a lot of people, we have hospice professionals that I'm hearing them say, oh, he's another cash investor. I need to add him into my phone. I need more cash investors. I'm thinking, wait a minute. That's practicing real estate. We need to be really careful that we're warning professionals not to practice real estate without a license. And so I think that's an interesting financial strategy, but I think maybe more and more placement professionals might decide to get a license, because if you're meeting the homeowner before we are, then you have the opportunity to do your professional placement, do the medical, social, financial assessment, know the inventory, help that family out the best you can, but also be involved in making sure they have a good realtor, if not you, that they have a good realtor, and then you can participate in that and, maybe get a 25-30% referral fee or whatever you work out, and help control that timeline, that whole case file.
Well, I certainly try and make sure my client does have good real estate representation, but I kind of feel like it's a conflict of interest for what I'm focusing on versus what my colleague, the real estate professional. So
I hear that a lot, Mike, and I would just say stay in curiosity about that, because you are trying to do a great job for the family, and part of that is helping them think the whole way through. That's why you're giving them the great advice about maybe consider hanging on to this for ongoing income. You're already doing some of the work. It's okay. It says in the Bible, a workman is worthy. It's okay to get paid for the work that you do. And look at frickin' Zillow and A Place for Mom. All they do is sell leads, because leads are valuable. The value is the lead. Of course, it's the work that you do, but it's that you have earned the trust of that client or that family. And it's okay to continue being a fiduciary on their behalf and help them further and get paid for your work, just like
So, Mike,
Zillow would do.
Mike, what do you think what is the conflict of interest that you were describing?
Well, I'm just talking about kind of being diluted where, you know, my placement business keeps my attention and I'm, you know, constantly trying to make sure I'm doing that right thing for the family. So if I'm also working the real estate angle, I just feel like I'm
Mike, you're already doing it. Do you ever refer the family to a realtor that you like and trust?
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
he does
that's all
that
you
all the
do.
time. That's how I know him.
That's it. Now you're done.
Yeah.
That's all you have
I
to
mean,
do.
it's
But
a constant collaboration.
it's that,
it's
Mike, you
trusted
don't do any.
partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get 30%. It's like a rev share in your business. It's a revenue share, but you have to have a license.
That whole
Yeah.
concept is emerging in our particular village right here.
And Mike, I hate to tell you
this.
this, you
Yeah.
probably already know it, but this is happening whether people think it's ethical or not. The blending of placement and real estate at some level is happening, and we're probably not going to like some of what comes out of it. But those of us that are really committed at doing a good job can, you know, bang the drum about how it could be done. But Mike, you wouldn't have to do one more thing except collect your 30% referral fee.
Well,
And then you are helping hold that realtor accountable to doing a good job because you've given them a referral, but you're doing that anyway. You're just not
yeah,
getting
we're
paid.
already doing that. We've already
Do they
been
give
doing
you a
that for
Starbucks card or
10
out to
years.
dinner gift certificate, a steak?
For years
Yeah.
and years.
I get some
Okay,
nice gifts.
okay.
It's
Well, they should be
morphing.
giving you a check.
It's morphing. It's morphing. These two, I keep describing to people, these two industries, these behemoth industries are morphing together and it's a collaboration. And, you know, Skip will tell you that that's the first word out of my mouth 10 years ago when I got my SRES. Why don't we just collaborate on everything? What's going on?
And Mike, I think you did hear this part that the guy who started Care Patrol is now quietly working with EXP to try to recruit EXP agents to go compete with Care Patrol.
But
and all
all
the
he's
rest
gonna
of you.
do, all he's gonna do is end up doing is like what my biggest fear is how is Place for Mom gonna pivot and survive because that's what they're gonna do. And
Yeah.
so here's the funny part of how this is all coming full circle. The reason why a Place for Mom came about is because there's no such thing as a senior living investor. They're real estate investors. Real estate is comfortable with the pay to play. They're comfortable with referral fees because that's normal. But that's how this whole thing started, is because a Place for Mom was generating referrals for real estate senior living investors. They're not doing it for the boarding cares. And then the advisors from a Place for Mom, they start going, well, I'll start my own shop. It's the same thing as a recruiter working for a recruitment firm and going, I'm just going to start my own boutique firm. So
Yeah.
Place for Mom created placement agencies and local placement agencies without any regulation, but don't get it wrong. What started it was real estate.
Interesting.
No
I hadn't
such-
heard that part.
There's no such thing as senior living investor. There's not, doesn't, there's people that invest in senior living real estate, but they're not invested in the seniors.
Exactly. What the part I did hear, Jessica, is that the lady I told you she does placement in Dallas, she gets like 15 incoming placement customers a day. That she worked for a Place for Mom when it was owned by husband and wife, and she said it was a really awesome company, and had the heart, had everything, and they were awesome. And then they got bought out.
Pam
And the
Temple.
husband and
Pam Temple. Pam Temple and her husband, they're from Santa Barbara.
Okay.
I live in
Yeah,
Santa Barbara.
interesting.
I'm in Santa Barbara. Place for Mom never worked in the Central Coast, California, because we don't have the density population. And so when the local placement specialists were coming in, assisted living's like, I'm not going to pay Place for Mom after they send me a fax with a name. I'm gonna pay for the family that gave me a tour, that came in, and the placement agents. But here's the problem. There's so many funnels into senior livings, assisted living online aggregators, that assisted livings and care homes cannot generate their own organic leads. And that's where placement agencies and real estate agents should be paying attention to, is relationships with the board and cares. Not
Yes, that's a good point. I need to really add that to this, because I didn't really specify that. but I have a lot of that in here. The first part of the senior home coach method is broadcasting and community outreach. The next is niche networking, how to embed and work within the senior industry. So we have people all across the country that are working on these things, but Jessica and everybody, we're just getting started. We launched this May 1 of 2024. We have about 80 that are committed senior home coach professionals. Then we have a lot more people that participate on the free daily call. We have lots of podcasts that are starting. So far, just the one TV show and the one radio show, but I think that we're going to see that change. And in Wichita, I'm going to teach this class October 6th. We'll do a welcome party. Then the 7th and 8th, a 2-day conference. And then on Thursday, we're going to have another ticketed opportunity called Command the Mic and Media Skills Camp. We have a lady, Susan Murphy, that has been in broadcasting, television, and radio for 40 years. She's going to be teaching about finding your authentic voice and your message. And then we also have April Adams Pertwee, who you might run across her marketing on Facebook, et cetera. And what she teaches is how to really become a public speaker and how to really create your story. And she's amazing. So those two women are going to come help teach that. And then we have some big media announcements coming. And I really think, Jessica, Mike, all of you, that this is the way we help hold the standards and we help educate our colleagues and consumers out there, because there's things are coming at them from all different directions. So you've got big money maneuvering with AI to create apps like Parent Project, where they can control 73 different service industries. So you can manage your mama's projects from 5 states away. And they want to own placement and move management and real estate. And like I said, like 73 total industries, and be transparent, which I don't believe for a second. And I just believe that companies like that are going to try to build these AI companies up quickly, these apps quickly, and then sell them to big money companies. And there you go.
Well, I think that like the one saving grace that people do have, human beings, is that it's still going to be and this is where placement agencies are helpful in the way that people want a helping hand. They want somebody to hold them through the process. And I don't think that's going to change. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you do need that human touch. You also need a local trusted advisor. And the other thing is, we're really focused on, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're focused on Gen X. And we're still old fashioned, and we're still going to work with people. You can't say it left for the generations after us, but I'm not talking to AI when I need, something from my parent. I'm just not. I'm going to talk to a real person that's lived in the community and know the resources, and somebody that I can trust.
Yeah, that's why we need to know as seniors real estate specialists, and when we're working with senior homeowners and the families of senior homeowners, we that first person experience. It's AI, is great, but it's garbage in, garbage out. So the first person experience is much more important and effective when we're working with families.
Yeah.
And
That's why
when
getting
we're
on the
working with
news,
each other.
AI is not going to help with the emotion. It's not. It's not. And that's why people stick their heads in the sand about finances, because it's emotional. So why people, it's all like, really have to meet people where they're at.
yes.
Okay,
And where
segue.
they're at is they want to age in place. And so a lot of us are getting very involved in NAIPC, the National Aging in Place Council. And so what you're seeing now is a blending of NASM, NAIPC, and CSA. Where's NAR? Nowhere.
Well, here's Julie and Skip with SRES.
Julie and Skip.
That's where NAR is. It's just me and Skip.
Thank goodness for you two.
Oh, boy.
But NAR is not part of this equation.
No.
And never will be.
It never will be. And that's okay, because that just means there's more opportunity for those of us that are entrepreneurs. And I think that your strongest message could be on television, because who is watching TV and who trusts who's on the news? So it's what's left of the silent generation and the older boomers that are in the thrust of this right now, the younger boomers, and even the older boomers that are helping guide their aging loved ones. What am I? Gen X?
You're
I never
we're Gen
remember.
X, like latchkey
Yeah.
kids.
Gen X, the forgotten generation. I can't remember the name of my own generation. Gen X, we're sandwich or double sandwich generation. Then my kids are millennials. They are definitely double sandwich. And so it's this multi-intergenerational thing here. And but it's, who's watching television? And it's a lot of the more mature adults. And so this is a really great way to get out there and spread your message. And so that's a lot of what we teach.
I think you're right, and I also I think YouTube is really for Gen Xers for getting information and trusting people. They want to see
Yeah.
real people.
Yeah.
And it's in its infancy. So I'm here with you. And I also think it's the I wrote this article. It's not like it's the 6-foot hero hub sub generation. It's not.
I would love to see that.
It's in chat.
It's in the chat. Okay.
Next best home, future of aging.
I heard a good line lately, and that is that your face is your funnel. And it's 2025. And in the olden days, we could maybe show up in a networking meeting or give a presentation on a meeting, but today we are expected to be online with our face. And so using our voice, that's why I have Susan Murphy and April Adams for Twee coming to Wichita to teach Command the Mic. But also we just have to use our faces, whether it's on YouTube or any social media. Social media is media, but I also believe that there's a lot of opportunity in broadcast media for us right now, because these are the messages that their viewers need to hear. But we have to understand how to talk to the television and radio stations and how to navigate this.
See, Jessica, that's why I don't show my face.
I know. Yeah, Skip, you mean your reputation, is your only saving grace.
He's our wizard. He's our wizard. Pay no attention to that man behind
Catherine,
that.
did you connect with Brian DeVore?
Yes, I love Brian DeVore.
Yeah, he's in our, yeah.
I'm really cheering him on with his new television show, Seniors Living. I think it's a brilliant name. It's a very high production value concept, and I wish him a lot of luck. And I thank him for testing that for us. I think it's going to be challenging, but I know it's going to be beautiful work. It's going to be very difficult because he has to find the family. And everything has to go right. He has to find the family, and they're going to tape what starts off, the kitchen table discussions and goes through placement and everything else. And then the whole transition and selling the house and all that packaged in a television show. So that is no easy feat. And I think it is brilliant and wonderful that he's doing that. You will not see me do that, because that is too much production. But I'm very glad he's doing it. There's very few people in our country working and broadcasting in this niche. So I think it's brilliant, and I think we should cheer him on like crazy.
Oh,
Reality TV.
What, Skip?
Reality TV.
Yes, real reality TV, not sexcapades, high heels, and miniskirt.
Well, now it's gonna,
reality.
it's like, yeah, house hunters for seniors real estate.
Yeah, but for real.
Yeah.
Not garbage. This is for real. And I think it's amazing. And, I see him doing all kinds of content. And so he's killing it. And I'd love to see him keep at it and have great success with that. And then his show is going to be available on streaming or on cable. So I think that's really neat. But I've got some really cool things coming, and the groundwork is being laid. And so now's the time to get brave about using your face and your voice and learning AI and everything you can, so you can go out there and broadcast the good stuff and help people so they aren't falling into the predatory practices that are going on.
Roni, do you have a local PBS station that you interact with?
No, not really. I do not. For me, it's mostly church and faith-based organizations, and that have worked for me thus far. They have the membership in terms of outreach is very big. So so far that has worked, and so I try not to do too much because I do try to enjoy
Well, they
myself.
probably have their own system, closed circuit TV, and they all share, everybody networks together.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I've gotten a few invites so far, but I'm still trying to get this entire structure in place. I'm not at a place where, I'm comfortable enough to expand more because
Well, funny that you should mention that you're working on structure, because that's one of the things that the senior call and the senior home coach, and now the senior home coach method that Katherine just launched, it has got some structure. And so it's one opportunity, and this is what I connected with and that I want to share with my group and my colleagues, is that it does have a structure. So we're gonna utilize that. I've already been utilizing it. I am a senior home coach, so it's important. We're gonna and we're integrating that into our seniors real estate specialists. And I'm not really joking too much, because when I say me and Skip and I are the only ones that are doing this, but really we are. And so we're trying to elevate the whole structure of the senior real estate business.
And you are. So you can find our community on Zoom every morning. It's early for you guys at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's the senior call. It's a free Zoom every day. Or you can access recordings and a lot of our content for just $99 a month. The platform is on Mighty Network. We have 2 Facebook groups. We have our free Facebook group that anybody can join for the senior call, and that's the name of the Facebook group as well. And if you do become a senior home coach professional, then you can also join the members exclusive group, which is where people tend to drop their their best ideas and their best marketing. Both groups are very interactive, but there's better stuff in the members exclusive group, so that you really get your mind wrapped around how you want the structure to look like and how you want to address this public platform. We have a lady in Dallas, Fort Worth. She came up with the name Longevity Lab and has a really cool logo, and she's doing it just through her church, has a ministry. I think there's many different ways to lead generate through this or to work through this. And I think working through your church could be everything and all that you need to do.
Yeah,
and then it
exactly.
could organically grow from there if you wanted to.
Exactly.
It's a wonderful way to work.
Exactly.
And it's so fun sharing all this information. We can all just share different things. Like I learned a lot from you guys today, and we can just help each other, and so we can go out there and do better and better work.
Yeah, we get nuggets every day, business nuggets. So it's the business of the business, and that's what we talk about, is the business, and it's all lead gen. So on page 4 of the bulletin is all the information that you need for senior home coach and the senior call, and also the upcoming event in October.
Mhm.
So, and if anybody has any specific questions, you can just contact me directly. And
And it's just a wonderful group of people. We're growing it together. It's just really grassroots. And usually once during every senior call, our jaws just drop because someone will announce something and we're like, oh my gosh, it's every single day. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about, we should talk to our local mayors and the age-friendly initiative that all mayors across the world have, and blah, blah, blah. Well, so we had a lady in Arkansas, and she went and met with her mayor, and it went really well. And she's going to meet with a couple other mayors. She's in an area where there's, different rural towns. So there's so many cool things going on, and it's a much more fun way to work real estate or any of our businesses, and just kind of this broader, elevated, bigger way of thinking, because I don't think most of us were thinking that, oh, I could go be on TV anytime I want. And you really can. You just have to know what you want to say, and it has to be of value to viewers and to the station.
okay, well, in our market, we have a few realtors that have pay to play TV shows. You can get a TV show, you can buy 30 minutes on Cron 4. You can pay
Yeah.
them a lot of money and sit there with a couple chairs and talk about real estate, but they talk about real estate. Everybody does that, or anybody. I mean,
I think it'd be real hard to make it interesting. And what we're
Yeah.
talking about is life-changing, life-saving information.
exactly.
And I don't have to pay a penny for any of the TV that I do. So I'm on PBS every Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday, and they don't pay me either. And so I'm doing a lot of work. I don't get paid, but believe me, it has paid off. It has
Yeah.
been the most wonderful thing I've ever done in my entire real estate career. And then on my local ABC, I could see, you know, some stations might charge, but it depends on you and how good you are. And they may just do it because they want to do it.
And you get phone calls from homeowners,
Yeah.
from viewers.
Yeah. And I'm very non-salesy, believe it or not, because you guys are seeing me and how I think about business. But when I'm on TV, there's no selling. It is all production value for the viewer. It's all good stuff. Today on ABC, I took a lady that does lymphatic massage, and she just started a business called Senior Sidekicks, and they do errands and massage and all kinds of things for seniors. And so she's wanting to start that business. I would like to recruit her into my business one of these days, but we went on together and we talked about lymphatic massage, and I'm sure that was interesting for viewers. And then I always blend everything in somehow, some way to age your way in your own home or wherever you are and have the most vibrant lifestyle you possibly can. So I have more fun doing it like that. And I'm really just testing a lot of broadcasting messages so I can see what works. I can test it for all of you guys, and then you can figure out how you want to tweak it.
Yeah, because it's all applicable. Everybody, we all have our own niche in this niche. So
I think if I knew how to speak like a placement professional and I really wanted to grow my placement business, that I would go on and test that messaging if I was really focused on local. But I'm very focused on national and just the growth of this whole movement. That's probably what I would do. I think I would focus on that, because realtors talking about selling the last home, it almost gets people's guard up. Like it seems like an attorney showing up at a car wreck. And it makes people question. And so the senior home coach method is also about how to approach the market in a way where we are not coming across as the villain, and we're not walking around with the trademark realtor R on our forehead, that we're serving in an elevated way, kind of a PhD gerontologist approach, or broadcaster approach. And then we can woo people our direction, and then we can figure out where the business is from there and how we can help people. So this all started out of monthly seminars. I wouldn't have been doing the TV if it wasn't for the seminars. Well, Julie, I hope that helps. Thanks so much for letting me
oh,
come in today.
yeah, thanks for being available. Really appreciate it. Good stuff. I always get excited. There's always some good nuggets. So I really appreciate it, Katherine.
Well, happy to connect with all of you. Jessica, for sure. You have some good information that I don't have, and I think being connected would be really great.
I'll
Okay.
see you next week on the journal call.
Sounds good. I'm so excited that I'm published. It just took me 59 years to do something like that, so I'm very excited about that. And then my little self-published book, but it will be on Amazon at some point. So anyway, Skip, thank you so much for getting me going on that. And Julie, thank you for the opportunity today. Thank you, everyone. I'm taking my grandkids to the zoo. They're visiting for a week. So I'm going to go get hot and sweaty. All right.
Okay.
All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you for your patience, and I'm glad we got to, yeah, go ahead, Skip.
Next week, we have somebody talking about Social Security. So that
I know.
is going to be the topic if everything technically goes right.
I'm excited because I am signed up for Medicare. So, but my birthday's in September, so I have to figure out how I'm supposed to pick out all those decisions you have to make. And so we're going to learn about that next
Well,
week.
don't forget, Medicare is not Social Security. This will be a different topic.
Oh, see, I learned something right there.
Duh. Tune in next week.
All right, everybody.
Last
Okay.
comments or questions?
No.
Remember,
Wonderful session. Nice job
remember,
winging it, Julie.
Go ahead, Skip. What were you gonna say?
remember that my class is August 13th and 14th. You can go to store.car.org and sign up for it. It's, if you already have your SRES, it's $99 for repeat offenders. Lots of new material in there, things that you probably didn't even think of. And I'm hoping that you guys will sign up, and I'll see you then.
Jessica, you got your real estate license, right? Yeah. So did you do your SRES yet?
I don't, I hang my license with a broker. So I technically can't, I don't think I can. I'm not part of NARS or CARS. And the only way to do that, to take an SRES, is if you're part of CARS and NARS, and there's no reason for me to be, at least not right now. I just play referral agent. Nothing really comes in my radar that much anymore. So it's like, I mean, I'd love to have a little bit more. I mean, I'm probably looking more into the CSA, but
Okay, well, that's different.
I know it's different, but like I can't. I mean, I'm just not part of, not paying to pay all these dues when I really don't do any transactions.
You're doing the right thing. That's fine.
Thank you.
Good, good to know. Well, okay, but that's good information too, because that just gives me an idea on what we need to do separately. So, with
Yeah.
advanced education, um,
Like I literally like the reason why, like when I got my license, I was told you have such a big, huge network. You should do this. And I really was watching, and I didn't want to do it real estate, what you need to do to be a real estate agent. I didn't want to. I really wanted to be more in a position where I just referred. That's always the position I want to be in. A jack of all trades, and who's the best at what, kind of direct traffic. But that's the whole point of me creating my website, is really me online, is me saying, here's the cost of care. This is what it's going to cost you. Do you need an attorney? Do you need a real estate agent? Do you need a tax accountant? Who do you need? Because here's some options. You don't have to call them, but here's some local trusted advisors in our community, right? And so we'll see if it works, but that's kind of what the plan is. What Catherine said was really interesting today, and what I try to tell people is, I've played on the side of, it's like, oh, we have to plan, people aren't planning. I go, I've created a career around the people that don't plan, that are in crisis and need, that's, so I do feel like there's a lot of need for planning. But I understand people in crisis. And what I'm trying to say, what I was trying to tell Catherine is, you want to get to the people that are in crisis, you got to get through all that minutia and confusion. That's what's going on between the medical system and I got to sell my home and I got to go to senior living or whatever. That's where you got to. So I'm creating this transparent data really for the medical system. So they start using it as the government should be telling people where the vacancies are in senior living. Because when there's a vacancy in a hospital, when there's a
oh
vacancy.
no, you're right, completely. And there is a whole business. It's a whole data business in the hotel business. It doesn't matter. I mean, a room at Hilton or a room at Atria, it's going to become that. They sell them. They sell the data to sell them. And so, and that's the thing where a place for mom and all these the Zillows of placement, that's what they're doing. But
Well,
I think
I have a
your
grid.
platform, yeah, that's a much better idea.
Yeah, well, what I think that, like, we're talking about Gen X and the baby boomer children who's making these decisions, and they don't want to go to a website that's going to collect their information, and like that day, those days are going to be over.
Mhm.
And so what I'm saying is, I think, AI can be incredibly scary. Like, what's going to happen to me? How do I make a living? So I'm going to utilize it as much as I can until other things develop. But the one thing that we know for sure is NARS is not interested in getting in educating their client. There's until they are until they are. So it's kind of like don't hate the player, hate the game, and then create the new game.
Or just, yeah, learn the game
And if the
yeah.
game is being more transparent and honest, it's like, well, I can do that game because I've always been that way. So and I'm always rooting for the underdog. And I watch people who make businesses by maybe focusing what they are on. Like there's so much psychology that's going on to these real estate agents. Do they know what they're doing? Do they not know what they're doing? Do they not care? Do they what is it? But these new models will just make it just more transparent for anybody. So who cares if that real estate agent doesn't know, doesn't care? It's not going to matter anymore because they'll get weeded out. That's I think what's really nice about this time. And I love what you guys are doing. And I talk about you and your group all the time, Julie. And but I'm actually bumping to a couple of people. I just had 2 phone calls on the East Coast this morning, and the woman, when I said, you got to get into Julie's group, she goes, oh, I know that group. I've gone on those Zooms. So I just think like, yes, feel like realtors don't care. I go, you're so wrong. There's so many people out there. They really do care. And they really are trying to kind of help each other. And I think it's a wonderful thing because that's what we need. We need these coalitions. We really do.
But that's the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing is that, it's that 1% or 3%, as Catherine was talking about. All the other real estate agents want to make a living. Everything's about sales. From the moment you get your real estate license, well, even before, when you start studying for it, everything's about sales. Then you get your license, it's about, cold calling, door knocking, expired listings, everything to make the sale. But the problem is that people get turned off with the sales, as Catherine said. You want to be able to help them, and one of the best ways to do that is to help them solve a problem. And that's why these particular series that we're doing, for Tuesdays are important, because these are problem solving situations, not sales things, and you should be able to approach your clients with that in mind.
I agree. I also on the lending end too, a lot of people went gone to seniors, wanted to focus on seniors because they saw that there was opportunity, and they'd go and take me out to lunch, and they said, "I know I want to focus on seniors." I said, so what does that have to do with me? Like, well, you work with seniors. I go, I do not work with seniors. I work with the adult children. Like our seniors are incontinent, they are memory impaired. Are those the seniors you want to work with? Because they're not making their own decisions. You want to deal with somebody that's making a new life, a life change or a life transition, if you will. That's not my clients. I mean, maybe the children, but so there's like a lot of confusion out there when they decide they want to focus on that market too. On like what kind of senior are you actually focused on? My girlfriend told me a long time ago, she goes, Jessica, I finally figured out what I want to do. I want to work with seniors. I go, great, figure out if you want to make money or not now, because there's a lot of seniors that don't have any money and low income or affordable, there's a huge bucket of different types of seniors.
Exactly.
And also when what you just said, Skip, with it's also kind of being the solution, is when you're dealing with seniors in a certain and their families in a certain place in their life, you got to meet people where they're at. I have a friend who is in the mortgage business. He's a lender. I got him into the business years ago, and he's not having the best time right now. And he knows what I'm doing and Mark's doing it. And he's like, I know that there's a huge potential in there. But I know deep down inside, he's not going to want to focus doing what I'm doing, marketing to the people that I'm marketing. He wants to market to financial advisors, and he doesn't want to do anything else. And it's like, if you want to focus in an opportunity with seniors and having focus, like you have to be solution oriented, you have to be resourceful, you have to be connected to other people in this space, because your job is to there's so many different types of seniors. that if you want to market and do sales and drive the traffic to you, you better be really careful about the phone calls that you get, how you qualify people, and who you send them to help them with that solution. That's the piece, you know? It's like you can get the phone calls, but you're not really doing the right thing, or you're not doing right by the people and the callers if you don't understand the resources that they truly need. And that's what's so complicated about this time in people's lives and their families, because then you have all the family dynamics. And if you don't have the stomach for it, then then you shouldn't be doing it.
Mm-mm.
Folks, I got to drop off here. It was good talking to everybody today, and we'll see you next week then.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. We'll
Have a
see
nice
everybody
week.
next week.
Thank you.